It's the
plus 320.
Will, you were spot on with the Brady attempts to throw in.
Welcome to The Bank is Open, presented by Pickett Sports and Boom Fantasy. Excited to have Boom Fantasy along for the ride. So Pickett Sports and Boom Fantasy bring you The Bank is Open. NicLarson, Brian versus the Books, Matt Matkafee. We got a loaded crew breaking down the night in the NBA. Maybe if you have a little time, we'll get into some NFL because there's only 4 games tonight. Boys, what's going on?
Not much. We have enough people to cover one for each game. I mean, we have legitimately one for each game. We could just run it and then go to bed. It's good. It's a good crew to have.
We could have our own starting
we
five
got
here.
Knicks teams are playing tonight, which is great. It's always fun to talk about. And then we get to play who's going to play for the Clippers tonight. Always another fun game. So exciting.
Before we get to the games, I can start with Nick. Anyone can chime in. Any big picture thoughts this last week or so? Teams you like, teams you don't like, awards, anything? I know Milwaukee's been up and down here. Nick, anything jump out to you from the last week?
Yeah, you say Milwaukee. I haven't really looked at Giannis MVP odds, but I mean the guy's gonna have to play some games here in order to get back into qualifying for it. If he sits too much, he's not even gonna hit that base mark that they kind of look at for qualifying. And I don't know what's going on because he's probable and then he's just out. It's not even questionable. So I don't know what their injury designation is. I know it's a knee injury, but I haven't really looked into it too much. But that's kind of one I've been looking at is just the Giannis games played, how that's going to go into effect.
Is plus 650. Do you guys know who the favorite is?
Jokic, right?
It is Jokic.
Mm-hmm.
Plus 175. I remember JD asked me like a month or so ago. He's like, any thoughts for MVP? What's the best price? And I wrote up Jokic. I think it was like that Sunday night. He had a monster game. And he was 12, maybe 13 to 1 now. And I just think, man, he's like there's no value at plus 175. But I just don't buy this narrative that he can't win it 3 years in a row. I think these younger voters are just analytically driven. They're going to look at the guy with the best numbers. And
What's
goodness,
Tatum
he's incredible.
Right
Tatum's right. It goes Jokic plus 175, and I'm looking at FanDuel. Luka's plus 250. Tatum's 5 to 1, which might be the best number on the board. Giannis plus 650. Embiid 13 to 1. Durant 20 to 1 with all these games missed. I just don't know if he's going to play enough games. Then you go Morant 30 to 1. Mitchell 40 to 1. Curry 55 to 1. I don't know that anybody past that can really win it. Matt, you have any thoughts on this?
My thoughts are Jokic needs to average a triple-double or, but it could just be or the Nuggets get the number 1 seed in the West. If it's and, give it to them. If it's or, I think the triple double needs to be averaged.
I think they're going to
because
force the and part.
yeah, right. So if it's and, then nobody will have an argument. But if it's or, then I could see it. If they fall off, drop down to the 2 or the 3, and or if he drops below the triple double mark, I could see it, because now it's like, all right, you've got your guys. Like, that was the argument, I guess, for him the last 2 years, is like his team is so depleted.
Yeah.
And look what he's backpacking them. Now he barely has to really kick it out of second gear. And now you could see how talented this team is. They've got 5-6 guys that can give you 20, 25 points on a given night. So I'm rooting for the triple double. I think it would be really cool for us to see a third time winner. When was the last time somebody did it? Bird, right?
I think it was
80s?
Bird in the 80s.
Yeah.
What great timing by Eli to sneak that in there he just snuck into my headphones that Larry Bird was the last person. So it works out for the best there.
It is wild in an era that's so 3-point driven, that a big man can dominate a game in the fashion that he does. Him hitting that walk-off top of the key 3-pointer almost like that is just it's crazy for him to be doing it in this era. Like, you almost have to separate basketball eras from like when the 3-point line was introduced, and then everything before that is just a different era. The big man was so important, but
Any betting value on? Sorry, I was just gonna say any betting value on any of these guys. And Brian, if you can jump in with that and any other thoughts you have.
Well, I was gonna say was that adding on to that too with the Jokic angle or the Jokic overall is that it almost shows how crazy it's needed that the Denver Nuggets need the home court advantage or the 1 seed, because they're 19-3 at home compared to about 50-50 on the road. So that's like the one thing I wanted to bring up, is that if they want to make a run this year, I think they almost have to do everything possible to make sure they lock in that 1 seed because of that crazy split on home and road of their performance. So I think that's one of those teams where you just have to push for it. Them and Memphis are the same record at home at 19-3. So they're going to both be pushing for that 1 seed, I think, more than anybody else.
Yeah, Game 7 at home in the NBA means a lot. Historically, I think it's like 80% winners, just straight up. That 7th game at home, it means a lot. And if you can get it every series, that goes a long way. Anything you guys would bet at these current numbers, MVP? Anything that's worth a bet?
I think Tatum, if you're getting 5-1, is probably nice value to grab. Yep. Just coming off of a monster game that everybody watched. I think there's just plenty of narrative behind him. He plays on the East Coast. He plays from the marquee franchises, and I think the appetite is there for him. They want, the ESPN talks about it all the time. They talk about Tatum all the time. So I feel like he's your East Coast guy, because Embiid is right there. Maybe you drop down to get him, but I don't think the Sixers will have anywhere close to the record that the Bucks will towards the end of the year. So he's your kind of guy there. Luka's in a big market there in Dallas, but I mean, he's going to have crazy numbers and stuff. But you get your East Coast guy, the guy that most of his games are going to be played at 7:00. One of these other guys are going to play at 9, 10. It's harder to get more eyes on him. So I do like that price for Tatum.
Curry is out tonight for the Nets, so it's been temporarily taken off the board. Obviously, Durant is out. Kyrie is out. Did I say Durant is out? Kyrie Irving is out for the
Curry. Had me worried for a second.
Curry, but is Seth Curry out?
No, Kyrie Irving, Brooklyn Net is out. So no Durant, no Kyrie, as the Nets are in San Antonio. They've lost, I think, both games here without Durant, playing unbelievably well with them. And now, we see, even when Kyrie's in the lineup, we see why Kyrie is just, look, he's the second option. Anytime he's been the number one option, it hasn't gone well for his team. And he's a good little sidekick, but expecting him to be your number one is it's not going to go well. And he's now out as the Nets lost 2 in a row. They are in San Antonio. Anything else awards-wise before we get to the games?
I don't think so. I think really the only value is Curry or I mean, that's like, I mean, Curry. You brought up Curry. Now everyone's team Curry. I was gonna say, I think the only value really is Tatum because he's also one of the guys that I don't worry about in terms of games missed. Not saying he can't miss games, but some of these other guys have so many low management, luggage, like baggage attached to them.
Yeah,
illness. Sorry, yeah, they're all sick.
There's a bet on the board in the awards market I like, and I actually did add it, is Jordan Poole in the 6th man at 5-1. Everybody watched Russell Westbrook try to take Embiid on at the end of the game and not even get the shot above the rim. I just don't think there's going to be this appetite to give it to Russ. Like, I think Poole is going to score more. He's going to be, I guess the only thing you had to worry about was if Curry was out longer than he was, but he's going to play more games from the bench, and I think his numbers are going to be awesome. Like, he's going to have like that Tyler Hero type of point differential versus any other player that played more off the bench. Like, he's your Jordan Clarkson, your Tyler Hero, going back Jamal Crawford, the guy that's just going to have so much more of a points gap off anybody other players. And at 5-1 on FanDuel, I think that's a pretty good price. And if I'm wrong and Russ beats me, then oh well. But people hate Russ. Like, they can't wait to hate on him. So, like, why he's the favorite, I don't know. I don't get it.
I hate Russ too. And there was a straw poll recently. I'm trying to find it, but I think it was Tim Bontemps of ESPN interviewed a bunch of voters for these awards, and it was like, Russ is the favorite in the market. I don't think he got many, if any, votes for 6th man. So, sometimes these markets they try to read into what the voters are thinking, and sometimes it's accurate, sometimes it's way off because you're not only betting on these, who should win. You're betting on humans in the voting process and the mindset. So it's always it's always tricky trying to project. What were you gonna say, Brian?
I was gonna say to Matt's point there, to say that Jordan Poole is a better scorer than Russell Westbrook right now is a wild take. I don't know how you can even make that argument.
Bold.
It's a bold take to say that he's a better scorer right now.
Right.
All right, I guess we can get to the games here. Bucks are laying 1.5. This is the Bankies Open presented by Pickett Sports Boom Fantasy. Bucks laying 1.5 to the Raptors. Raptors played a crazy game against the Knicks yesterday. Raptors, man, they don't shoot it well enough. They don't score well enough. I don't know what they'll do with the deadline. Milwaukee laying 1.5, total 221.5. Nick, this is your squad, the Bucks. What do you got here?
Man, I've been watching way too many Knicks and Raptors games lately. So I watched like that whole game yesterday, and that was a crazy game, overtime game. So I was ready to hop on the Giannis train today with points and rebounds, and he got ruled out. So I don't know. Like, this started, I think it was like 5.5 or 5 with Giannis playing, and you said it's at what, 1 now?
Yeah, Bucks laying 1.5.
Yeah, it's tough. The Raptors on a back-to-back after playing a lot of minutes. It'll be interesting what they do. I don't know. I don't trust this Bucks team right now without Giannis, without Middleton. Holiday's played pretty good the last couple games. He's kind of got his shooting stroke back. Probably going to have to rely a lot on Bobby Portis again. And one of the bench guys is going to have to step up. But I actually like Gary Trent Jr. in this game for Toronto. The Bucks allow 24 points a game to shooting guards. Trent got him for 22 about a week and a half ago. I'm assuming that Grayson Allen will be on him. You guys can chime in if you probably think Holiday's on Van Vliet.
Probably, I would think so.
I'm assuming because Holiday's a little more physical.
Yeah.
Van Vliet's a little more physical. I would assume they put Allen on Gary Trent. So I think he can take Allen off the dribble, and if he is very streaky 3-point shooter, so if he knocks down his first or second, knocks a couple down, he's going to be high volume for sure. So that's one play I like, and then I have a same game parlay for this if we want to come back to that after you guys.
Sure. Brian, what you got here?
I was actually going to ask the Milwaukee expert because as on the fly, as I always do, since I never actually prepared for the show, I was looking at my FanDuel app. I kind of like the idea that Drew Holiday's assist is set at 8.5. It was 9.5 yesterday, and in this matchup, I feel like I kind of like it at 8.5. He has 8 or more in every game without Giannis, and the Raptors are a team that they actually give up a lot of assists because they don't like to be beat by either this top option or they have a lot of blitzing techniques where I almost feel like 8.5 assists, despite being a back-to-back, like is a good look for Drew Holiday. I don't want to see your thoughts.
Yeah, kind of going off of that. I was trying to look because I'm like, there's going to be someone on this Bucks team. I'm not sure who, if it's going to be Connaughton, Grayson Allen. I don't know if Ingles is playing or Javon Carter off the bench. Someone is going to get a lot of open looks for three, I think. I just don't know which guy it's going to be. I know Connaughton was like plus 144 to hit three or something like that. But I think for sure they're going to – Van Vliet is going to blitz him for sure with someone with – I don't know if they have Barnes coming up or Anunoby trapping him or what, but they're going to force him to give the ball up for sure.
I actually might take that because I'm looking at it right now, and in every single back-to-back, he has 11, 12, or 13 assists and 3 back-to-backs this year as well. I kind of like that. I might even look to pair it with like 8+, insert, like a Bobby Porter or someone else there. But I might just take the 8.5 double straight up because I think it's a great look for Drew Holiday, who's been passing a lot.
Yeah, the assists I can see, like I think Brian said about them, rushing you and forcing you off. I think it could be good. I was looking into Siakam's points. Like it's a little low, I thought. Like I'm kind of surprised it's only at 23.5.
I thought the same thing earlier.
I mean, he's not elite in the mid range, but he's good enough. Like mid 40% in that kind of range. And a good portion of his shots kind of come in that 5 to 14 feet. And I think with Lopez in there, kind of protecting the rim, I think he might have some success. And if this game is competitive, I think that's where you attack the Bucks defense. They've kind of sold out to not be such a bad 3-point defense this year. And then with Giannis off the floor, I just feel like the mid range is a good opportunity to attack. I think the Bucks might go a little guard heavy. So if that's the case, like I see in the chat, somebody's asking about Portis rebounds. I mean, the line is crazy high, so it's what's it at 11.5? So he's got to get you 12. I mean, he very well could do that.
It's crazy how high they inflate his rebounds as soon as Giannis is ruled out. Yeah, like it is, there's no in between. It is straight to the moon.
Yep, yeah, and so I just don't know. I mean, your starting point is 12. There's just not a lot of room to go. I'd love it if it was a rebound or two lower than that. I would recommend it, but I'm not going to say go under because it's just he could go out there and do it. But yeah, what was the other question? Van Vliet assists. I mean, it just kind of depends. If like what they were talking about, the other guys kind of touched on it. If they blitz him, if Holiday's on him, I mean, it's going to be I don't think he can get his shot over Drew Holiday. So yeah, his assists might be a decent look. But anytime I'm capping a Raptors game, I just don't touch the assists at all because Siakam handles the ball. And Anunoby handles the ball, and Scotty Barnes can handle the ball. Like there's just you look at a box score sometimes. Every time I try to bet an assist market anyway, and it might just be me because I don't do it every Toronto game, but it feels like it's just very communal. Like everybody's got 3 to 6 assists, and so I would say maybe fade it to answer the question. I just don't like him trying to get 7 assists here. I think it's a little bit high.
You're spot on, though, because most teams have a guard that they inbound the ball to, or you get the rebound, you give it to Harden or whatever. But you're right. It'll be Barnes bringing it up. It'll be Siakam bringing it up. Van Vliet will bring it up. Like you said, there's no consistent ball handler that's initiating the offense every time down the court.
Now I'm looking at a number that just got posted, and maybe it's been up, but I maybe overlooked it. Joe Ingles' assists is only 3.5.
That's a good number right there.
Yeah, that's a good number. It's heavily juiced, so it's not great. Maybe throw something as a juice drainer on there, whether it be, I don't know, like 10 boards for Bobby Portis or something like that.
Like, have his threes up or not?
Threes, I know. You see it?
Oh,
okay. Yeah, I don't. FanDuel doesn't have his market listed yet. So threes are always a decent look. He's had some good good shooting nights. He's still kind of working his way back and getting his consistency down, but his passing is always on point. It's just a matter of, are the guys going to knock it down? Is Allen and Connaughton and whoever else is out there? Are they going to hit those shots? But I mean, 4 assists is kind of low, and with Holidays being, what is it? Is it 8.5?
Or is it? It's 8.5.
Ugh, I mean, yeah, 8.5. I think I'd rather have Ingles on the second unit, at 4 than try to get all the way to 9 with Holiday.
That's fair. I think one of those things too is that I think DraftKings has Joe Ingles threes at 1.5, and I think it's one of those things too where if you wanted to, I've been trying to experiment a little bit more with the alt same game parlays and this and that. So if you believe someone on Milwaukee is going to be scoring, you can maybe do 8 assists for Holiday. But yeah, he's been diming a lot, especially when Giannis is out of the picture. He takes that role a lot more seriously.
Ingles has hit that in 6 of the last 7 games. So
that's pretty good.
All right, before we move on, Nick, you had a same game parlay here?
Yeah, I've got it was plus 806 when I put it in a little bit ago. Bobby Portis 10 rebounds, Gary Trent Jr. 15 points, Grayson Allen 2 assists, Siakam 25 points, and Lopez 2 made threes. So I like you said, I think Siakam set a little bit low. I think Trent can get to 15. Portis should get the rebounds. Probably the risky one is maybe Lopez. I don't know if, like you said, Toronto might go small. The Bucks might match him going small. I don't know how many minutes or if the Bucks are going to play big and try to outmuscle him. But he'll get enough attempts, I think, to knock 2 down. But that's what I got for this game.
All right. We can move on here. The Nets, as we mentioned, are in San Antonio. The line has been reposted. Nets now laying 2.5. Money line minus. $138. Total 228. No Irving. No Durant. Brian, start us off here. Nets and Spurs. Anything you like?
Yeah, this is a weird game because I'm actually looking to maybe take the under on open at 31.5, and then that kind of got messed up a little bit. So this is a game where, I mean, the spread is 2.5, and as good as the Spurs have been in terms of keeping games close, and they actually cover the spread a little bit over 55% of the time, but I don't know, like overall as a team, I'm not sure if the Spurs at 2.5 is even like a good look. I'm not sure if you have any thoughts on that, Will, because I know you are a lot more in the spread, but 2.5 without Kyrie is almost intriguing for a Spurs team that has actually been playing decent basketball overall for what for what it is.
If anything, I would take the Nets, but man, no Kyrie, no Durant. I mean, this is a spot they kind of need to win. You lost 2 in a row. This is a get-right spot. This is when you circle on the calendar like, all right, we don't have our guys, but we can win this one. So I guess I would take the Nets, but look, I don't like it enough to have it in my account, so I guess I don't like it that much.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of getting at too, is where it's like it's almost one of those things where it's like, how do you not take the Nets, which is kind of scary. But the only thing I could maybe give a look to is Nicholas Claxton still plus odds for double-double if you like his rebounds, because the Spurs are teams that play fast and loose, and he's a guy that can, he's lobbying for Defensive Player of the Year, so maybe he has a big game today with some short-staffed Nets.
I looked at him over 2.5 blocks. Would that be playable?
That's a good. Like I said, especially for a guy that's just recently, 2 days ago, so that he should be number 1 in voting for Defensive Player of the Year. Who knows? Maybe short staff next we get like a surge from him.
Matt,
Would you say
for you?
2.5 blocks?
2.5 blocks I saw.
He's got 4-4, 3-5, 3-3, 6-6.
I think we might have a little play here.
Hitting like 8-10 straight.
I think we might have a little play here. Matt, anything for you here?
I mean, for me, it's all about Nets 3-point shooting. I think that's just the way they're going to try to win this game. You can't play through Claxton. Obviously, he doesn't have an offensive repertoire. That allows you to play through him in the post. I mean, he's very much just a catch, a lob kind of a scorer. So You pair that with San Antonio's right now. Let's see, they're up to just a 0.1% under 40% their team 3-point defense. So I think your Seth Currys, your Royce O'Neal, your Joe Harris, guys like that, you just can kind of play them all to hit 2 threes or something like that. Like you can get out of this game. The points are all kind of weird. They're all in the middle teens. I guess, somebody's going to hit 3 or 4 and clip 15 points. But it's a tough one for me. Maybe Ben Simmons.
2 threes.
I think he could get a triple-double tonight. No threes. I'm not playing Ben Simmons for a 3 because I don't. If he gets 2 attempts, that might be what, plus 500, plus 600 if he even shoots them.
So I didn't listen to your whole thing. I took the 3s for Ben Simmons, so I feel like an idiot
Simmons
now.
Emptied the account. They let me go way over my normal max. I don't know why.
He's not even listed for 3s. It's ridiculous.
Is it for free throws?
I think this is a great game for him to get a triple-double, I think. They're just going to surround him with shooters and let him kind of do his thing. And, as long Brian will tell you, I know, Brian, you're sharp on anti-rebounds. Again, big men against the Spurs, they don't get their rebound numbers. But if it's Claxton not getting it, then I think we might see Ben. Yeah, be Ben that benefits from that. So what is his triple-double tonight? I'm kind of 550. It's kind of gross, but I think that's in play tonight. What do you guys think? Am I crazy?
No, it's not terrible. I don't love the price.
I think the fact the price is so bad means it's actually on the table. That's what I thought earlier when I saw James Harden triple-double at plus 800. I thought the same thing where I was, I can see it, but is it really going to be worth the price of plus 800? So, but if you are looking for that, I do like the look only because, the Spurs play so fast and the Nets have a higher pace without Kyrie. So it doesn't even matter sometimes about big men getting boards. There might be a lot of rebounds to be had all across the board in this one.
And I think there's value in the highest scorer in the game market. Right now, Keldon Johnson's the only guy that is a short shot. I see minus 115 here. Everybody else is at least 6-1s. There's a lot of 7-1s out there kind of stuff. Like, this might be a game where 22 points is the high scorer. You know what I mean? Like, and somebody crazy like whoever kind of pops up, like Seth Curry, 7-1. Would it be crazy if he had 22 tonight and was your high scorer? Like, I think that's a possibility of hitting tonight. Because to me, this San Antonio Spurs, they're statistically, it doesn't sound like a lot. They're only it's about 1.8% worse than Minnesota, but that's a lot. Like, you know what I mean? When you really think about it, like it is kind of a lot over a season's volume. And just even in the last 3, they've given up 46% behind the arc. So I just think the Nets get all of their shooters out and they just let it fly tonight. And somebody could surprise you.
Yeah, and then the closing thought there is from Eli, who's whispering in my ear. I feel like he's in my room right now. But Ben Simmons triple-double is plus 800 on DraftKings. So that's a final thought there from Earpiece Eli.
I'm going to go bet that right now. That's going to be – I'm firing that for sure.
As always, shop around. That's a good nugget. We don't need the detail about Eli whispering in your ear. This is a family show, so any sort of erotic behavior can happen after the show. There's plenty of time for that.
Speaking of nugget, Will,
right into my play for this was Curry ladder.
Nice.
The odds have changed a little bit. I had it in before the Kyrie news broke, but I had his 12.5 points was minus 125, and then 20 points was plus 500. So I'm sure that's
what we call CLV, baby.
Yeah, I think his baseline is like 15.5 now. So got that before the news, but I think you're right. One of these guys, him, Harris, O'Neal, one of those guys is going to go crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
Just hope he doesn't roll his ankle. I know his ankles and ligaments are like a mailman's rubber band at this point. Like, those things could go at any second. But yeah, he should fill it up. And I love that CLV. That's super significant. It went from 12 to 15.
Yeah.
Good for you, man. Wish I'd have grabbed that.
All right, Nuggets, Blazers. Nuggets are home. They are laying 6. We mentioned Jokic and how he's the front runner for MVP. These teams have played a lot of sort of classic games the past few years, a lot of overtime games, playoff games. Nuggets are laying 6, total 237. I look at it over. It seems like every time these teams play, it's just a crazy sort of a shootout. So I might end up with an over in the account before the night is over. I'll probably add that. Nick, start us off here as, let's see, what are you showing us, Matkafee?
My $11.44 max on Ben Simmons triple-double over on DraftKings.
Okay.
I was
That's
ready
so
to-
bullshit. That's so
Right.
bullshit because they let me put like $300 in the threes, and that's ridiculous. Like they took so much hand on those threes.
Yeah.
But before we go to some of that game, I want to point out that Michael Malone just entered the health and safety protocols as well. So not sure if you want to cap that into your game, but
I didn't have
He
him on
just
any of my coaching props, so I don't have any.
Yeah.
You didn't have his
notions.
timeouts.
His
I had the
timeouts.
under for timeout. So
yeah, really. So if that matters to anybody out there, they are coachless. I guess I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I don't know how to handicap that. It's interesting though. It seems like COVID's popping up a little bit because I think it was Northwestern, Iowa got canceled because Northwestern had COVID. So I don't know. Maybe it's the winter. People are getting sick a little more. But Brian, start us off here. Nuggets and the Blazers. What do you got?
Well, I mean, you gotta take the Nuggets -6 to rally behind the fallen coach. But no, this is actually a game where, interesting enough, Anthony Simons actually struggled against this the length and like the overall background you see with the Nuggets with Jokic and you have Aaron Gordon, some of this length. He's actually struggled. So this is a game where I'm not taking anything yet, but I almost feel like Jeremy Grant could be a good look or Damian Lillard. I actually gave a chance I actually looked at fading Simons in this game only because he lives from the 3-point line. It's actually one of the things that the Nuggets do well. So that's part of the reason I actually lean the Nuggets in this one at the -6 because for all the things that Trailblazers do well at the 3-point line, the Nuggets actually, despite being one of the worst defensive teams I've seen in recent years, like they've been really bad at certain times. They do close out well on the 3, which can put a stop to a lot of things that the Trailblazers can do. So I would lean the Nuggets in this one.
Nick, what you got?
yeah, I'm with him. I like Grant in this game as well. He's got a good matchup, I think, against the Nuggets. One thing I was going to bring up to you guys is they do have a boost that involves this game on FanDuel. It is Lillard to have 30, Embiid to have 30, and then Joker to have 8 assists. It's boosted from +195 to +300.
Is Embiid getting shot? Because I actually have a lot of handle on Embiid.
Lillard's the one that scares me in there.
Yeah, I like I said, because they actually do a good job at guarding the 3-point line, which is funny to think about because usually when you think of Denver, it's like you got to hammer the overs. But I mean, they have been kind of hit or miss in that regard. Where they're actually, if I bring it up, they're actually 10th best in 3-point percentage allowed, which isn't like top of the line, but they actually do guard and close out a little bit well with the length they have. So I do think unless Lillard can get to the line or he can, Lillard is a guy I trust more than a guy like Simons, which is kind of why I was looking at Simons. Simons actually really struggled against this last 2 games against Denver. He scored 6 and 14 because as good as he is when he gets hot, he's not as polished as a guy like Lillard. So I just don't know if they have the firepower to keep up if they're not hitting their threes early.
I guess Lillard did have 34 against them last game, so
Yeah, it's a great matchup for Lillard. Like he seems to
31 in the
always
first game.
he cooks the Nuggets. It's just one of those places I guess he sees everything well, but it's wild. I'd like to get a prop, one of these special props. I'm looking and saying, oh, does Brett Maher miss a PAT? I want to get a prop that does the Nuggets crew have to come out with the level and fix the frickin' basket? Like, my gosh, it's been crazy how they can't get that thing right. But yeah, I'm still burned up that I missed a SGP. I needed a bucket from Tatum, and any time during the fourth quarter, and that whole big delay, and then it happened in the next game too. But anywho, yeah, it's hard to not like the Nuggets here. A 5.5 feels like a lot, but I do think they just have. I think they'll have the edge. I don't know. Nurk seems to have good games though against Jokic. Like, I think he could be in line for a double double. But like you mentioned, like I think I'm gonna have a same game parlay for this for sure. It's just a matter of waiting on the lineups, and I know I'm gonna be attacking like Nurkic and Dame on Portland's side, and I'm gonna probably be playing. Gosh, it's just tough. And there's so many guys that can give it to you on the Nuggets. I might just go kind of low. Pick Murray and Porter and Gordon all get like 12 to 15 kind of points. I think they could all kind of get in that kind of territory. I think the over 237 is probably a good look too. I think this game is just going to keep on flying. And the way that Portland can shoot, like, they can look rough. They could be down 10 or 12, and then all of a sudden it's just crazy. You look up and they've hit 3 threes in a row, and you're like, wow, that went quick. And so I think it's probably everybody's favorite game on the slate, right?
Yeah, it's a fun one. And I don't know, maybe the next one is because any other thoughts before we move on to the final game?
Oh, yeah, we got Sixers fans here. Sorry, Brian.
The Sixers are in LA to take on the biggest frauds in the NBA, the LA Clippers, who will never win a damn thing, who I'm completely sick of. I'm sick of hearing about how deep their roster is, how this is their year, how if they're healthy, how if this, how if that. This is 4 years now of this. I'm so tired of this. Yes, I had them against the Nuggets the other night without Jokic, and I lost. I'm furious. I'm so sick of them. Enough. They're one game over 500. This is the 4th year these guys have been together. They never play. They act like the regular season is completely beneath them. They suck. The Clippers suck. They're not going anywhere. I'm done with them. They're laying a point. Whoever wants to take it can take it.
So tell us how you really feel there. Because
sounds like I was upset. I sounded like I'm mad. I'm not that mad, but it sounded like I was mad.
That was a hell of an intro, so I appreciate that. No, this is a game where, despite being Sixers, I do think it's a really interesting game. It's like a good marquee matchup to have in the late game slate. In terms of the side, as much as, what'd you say, biggest frauds of the century?
Biggest frauds in the NBA. Like, enough. They're so deep. They're this. When they're healthy, they're never healthy. Kawhi and Paul George are in their 30s. They're always hurt. Enough of this hypothetical nonsense. And it, they're the reason. They're what's wrong with the NBA. They never play their guys. They act like, the regular season's beneath them. Like they've won 3 titles. Like they're the Warriors. They're not. They're so annoying.
Yeah. So I do agree with that. As of right now, they are listed as in. So I'm not sure what that's going to look like. But right now, the big 2 is listed in. But in terms of sides, I'm not sure how much I trust the Sixers on the road with how they've been at sometimes. But I've actually been pleasantly surprised that they've won by 1 point in the last 2 games, because usually those kind of 50, you have to grind out winning the close games, never go the Sixers' way. So that's I would say a positive. So I wouldn't lean one way or the other, but I almost lean the under. It's 224. I'm seeing some books. And this is a game where both teams might just out boring themselves. They might have a boring off of, playing defense and slowing down pace. But the one look I do have, which I'll share, is I actually did take Joel Embiid over 31.5 points. And I did an alt same game parlay, which I think I brought up last time I was here, but of Embiid 30 plus and Harden 8+ assists. It was minus 125, and that's one of those things where, 30 points is such a milestone for Joel Embiid, where he's able to, not saying he aims for it, but sometimes feel like even in meaningless games you have to get to that milestone of 30 points. So he's actually scored 30 points in 9 of his last 10, and in his last 10 he's scored 7 of the last 10 he scored 32 or more, but it's been 35 plus. He's actually averaging a little over 33 points now, where he's just been on one of those tears. And my thing with Joel Embiid is that when he gets on a scoring tear, I don't want to get in his way. And he gets Zubac and the Clippers, who he's kind of manhandled them. In the last 4 games he's played against Zubac, or 5 games, it should be 5 games against Zubac, he's averaging more points than minutes logged. And I just don't see Zubac putting a stop to him if he wants to get to the rim. I'm not sure about you guys, but That was the one look I had circled on when I saw the Clippers game on the schedule.
Eli did make a note of it that 4 years together for Kawhi and Paul George, they've played together 90 games. They've played at the same time, 95 in 4 years, which
Give them
is just
credit.
incredible.
Give
And
them
this year,
credit. 95.
we're more than halfway through the season. We're 45 now, 46 games through the season after tonight, and they played 15 games together. The guys, they don't play a whole lot of basketball. That's all there is to it. What else, Matt? What do you got in this one?
Man, see, I'm the Clipper lover, I think, on the show. Like, I still see the potential, and where the Sixers are good inside, and they're good at guard, but they're pretty weak at the wing. I mean, Tobias he's getting up there. His best years were in probably LA when Doc was there, and I think that's why it's in the playoff basketball. It's half court basketball. Like that's what regular season just doesn't matter. Like that, just get in. Clippers don't have any home court advantage anyway. So when you got that much elite wing play, I think it's the most important position in the playoffs. I think this will be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun because there is no way that James Harden can get around Kawhi Leonard if he wants to pick him up. Like, there's just no way. And I think, PG, if he takes Harris, I think that's a win for the Clippers here too. I do wonder if your Reggie Jacksons of the world can slow down Maxey. Probably not. So I think Maxey points, Embiid points, like Brian was saying, are probably good looks on the Philly side. But to me, the Philly, the only good wing defenders that they can bring in is Thibault, but he's such a liability on the offensive end. Like he's almost out of the rotations at this point, right? Like he comes in when somebody's like just in foul trouble or something like he's almost just an afterthought. Like I think Niang, am I wrong?
But
Niang's taking over.
The Sixers are 10-0 when he sees 20 minutes. That's a fun stat to share with your friends. But it's a lot more bang bang George Niang. That's how
right.
Yeah.
George Niang, if he's trying to pick up Kawhi Leonard or Paul George, like they're in serious trouble. So same thing with Harden if he's trying to guard him. Maxey is willing, but he's too small. So to me, I think the edge is the Clippers here. Like I think you just let go. Hey, Embiid, go score 50 points tonight and just have a Herculean effort to beat us. Like because we're clamping Harden, we're going to clamp Maxey and Harris, and go ahead, dude. Like give us your best shot, and he could very well do it. But I think that this matchup is it's why Boston always beats Philly. It's because Philly can't stop Brown and Tatum. And Brown and Tatum are the new, we've talked about this round and round. They're the new Kawhi PG kind of combo here of just wing scorers that but honestly, like both of those guys can handle the ball better than Jaylen Brown. I'm not going to criticize Tatum's ball handling. He's gotten pretty good. And I think Brown's gotten better this year, but Clippers just have so many guys that can get their own shot. And then off the bench, you got you guys like Norm Powell that can come in and get you 12 to 15 points. I like this matchup a lot for the Clippers. I like them against a lot of teams like that because they just know only the Celtics have the kind of wing defenders that could really slow this team down. But again, like you mentioned, we just don't get to see it enough. We don't get to see it enough, so it sucks.
And they're probably going to be in the play-in if the Warriors get their act together because they're half game ahead of the Warriors.
There you go. I like them against anybody else. Like, I mean, it's just about getting them ramped up and all healthy. I kind of feel bad for Ty Lue, just because you could tell his hands are tied. He doesn't have any authority over if they're playing or not. So
no.
It's a good one. I am intrigued, but I feel like this is a game the Clippers will get up for. I do feel like that. So we'll see.
Yeah, and then
Go
Oh,
ahead.
what do you have? Oh yeah, you do have something in this game, so you go first.
It's part of the show too, Brian.
I got Harden over 6.5 rebounds. I'm taking him all the way up to 12. The Clippers allow the 5th most rebounds to point guards. In his last 3 games against the Clippers, these are his numbers: 34, 12, and 13, 29, 15, and 7, 20, 11, and 21. So he likes playing the Clippers. I don't know. I mean, I don't know who was playing those games. Who knows if George and Leonard were playing sick.
No, they weren't.
But if you can find anywhere we can bet those guys not playing tomorrow, because I believe they have a back-to-back, I think that's pretty safe money that neither of them play
back-to-back. No, oh my God, can't play in a back-to-back. Oh my God, of course. I mean, geez, back-to-back.
Who hurt you? I guess the Clippers. I don't know.
Oh, it's enough. It's so annoying. It's like, come on, enough. It's ridiculous.
No, I do like that look from Nick though, because that's what I was gonna bring up. Is that that's what I was trying to say. Is I do have a same game parlay in this game that kind of works with that. Not really, but it's one of the legs where I actually did do this. It's plus 450. I had a free bet to use, which is if you do a bet MGM, they do this weird thing where they just randomly give you free bets until you have to burn your account and get a new one. But so the leg I did have was Harden 10 plus assists, Embiid 30 plus points, which Harden had 21 assists versus the Clippers, which is almost it's like just barely past 10. And then I did take Harden's rebounds based off Nick's recommendation, a little watered down, but if it misses, I'll still blame him. And then I did take like the flyer in this one is I did take Tobias Harris, 2 threes made. I actually hate taking threes made, but his volume against the Clippers last game was he actually took 6 threes. He only made 2 of them, but watching that game, as Matkafee kind of mentioned with how they're gonna let Embiid cook, like let him do his own thing. In that as well as that, with the size advantage that Philly does kind of have with Embiid down low, it gives Harris that chance to kind of hang more at the wing, which is not normally what he does in terms of trying to size up with teams. But against smaller matchups, he actually gets that chance to kind of be more of a wing player on offense and take a little bit more of some rips from the 3-point line. So I do like the price of him to get 2 or more, which he's done only 4 of his last 10 games. But overall, he's averaging about 56% of the time he gets 2 more threes. And given the matchup, I do think he'll take a little bit more volume than we are used to seeing.
All right, I think we pretty much covered it. Anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Clippers futures.
I'll take them.
I want to take the Clippers
you have bets
to
on
piss
them,
you
Matt?
off in the next week at -1,000.
No, I do not have. I don't buy an NBA futures ticket usually, just because I think there's a very select few teams that can actually win in a given year. I think it's usually you can count it on one hand.
Yeah.
And unless there's just an insane outlier where a number just gets thrown out there that you just have to grab, you're going to get the exact same price in May that you would get in October. So I'm not going to tie up units at that price. Maybe you move 50 cents, maybe you move $1 here and there, but the books are not going to let themselves get killed and be like, oh, okay, well, Celtics lost 3 games in a row. Let's drop them to plus 700. It's just not going to happen. So
I think the Celtics were like 100, 150 to 1 to win it all this time last year, but that is an extreme outlier. Like you said, usually it's chalk. Usually it's the same 2 or 3 teams. So that's not the case. And the year before, the Suns almost did it at crazy odds too. But
yeah,
again, so maybe the NBA is changing a little bit. But what was it?
I had them 37 to 1 that year when they blew the 2-game lead. So don't bring that up. But I was gonna say you can count the amount of teams that can win the championship not even on one hand, on one fingers.
Yep.
The Clippers. They're just, if you think about it, when they're healthy, I think when they're all together, they have a lot of depth. They have good coaching. Right. They have the star power. Like, just imagine them being together, Will, and who's going to stop that team? I mean, that's probably the only team you could think of that is, NBA championship caliber.
They will be dangerous in the play-in. They are 13 to 1 to win the title, if anyone's interested.
Yep. 13 to 1 to win the title is an outlier. That number has crept up. It was like 5 to 1. So I may.
Well, they're always the favorite too. That's the thing. The market always has them like as the short shot. It just
right.
Makes no sense.
They've
I
wandered
get
out
it.
a little bit. Yeah. If you ever, I'm looking at some future stuff. If you need to launder some money, Victor Wembanyama is minus 8,000 to be the number one pick. I mean, I don't know if anybody needs to clean some cash, but that's a
If
nice
anyone
prop.
needs to launder money,
Right. Yeah. I mean, there
Interesting.
you go. I'm out here giving financial advice.
Who's offering that, by the way?
Yeah,
FanDuel's got it up right now, minus 8,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put $1.4 million on that. That's what I'm gonna do.
Talk
The
about
only way he doesn't go number one.
even if he gets shot in the leg
Right.
between now and the draft, I think he's still the number one pick. Like, so that's probably about as safe as you can get. But yeah, I don't know.
See,
NBA
We're
that's
Finals
talking
right-
next June. We're talking like 18 months from now, though, to collect on minus 8,000.
Yeah, Mr. I don't want to tie up my funds and my units.
Right.
Just gave out an
Yeah.
18-month minus 40
That's
million.
why I thought it was so funny. Is like, who's betting that? Like, why is FanDuel like even hanging this market right now?
Right.
They hung the
Whatever.
Tom Brady 25-yard rushing each half at plus 7,500. And I saw that, and everyone's like, "Who's betting that?" I'm like, "They don't care. They get one sucker to bet $1 on it. They win in that market."
Yes.
Right.
I think I'm gonna wait for
Yeah.
Wembanyama to fall to probably minus 7,500 before I jump
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fair.
you
That's
gotta
good.
wait.
Yeah,
What's-
so that to close out the show, I mean, that's really the if you want free money, number one overall pick, Wembanyama, and Clippers to win the championship. It's the two freest money.
Yep.
Free, what do the people on Twitter say and TikTok? Like, if you want free coin, that's what people say, right?
Free
That's
coin.
like the freest of coin.
Love
It's those two props.
All right,
Yeah,
boys.
those futures markets they're tasty. I'm looking at a couple of them. They're giving no respect to the West right now. Golden State 850, Denver 10-1, Memphis 11-1. So they basically are telling you they think it's Boston or Milwaukee. Man, I don't know. You got it. I see why, but I feel like also it's like assuming a lot for a team to be healthy all the way through and
Right.
get all the way there.
All
But
it takes is one injury, man, and you're
right,
in big trouble.
That's why I gotta trust a team that can really keep their team healthy. Like the
You're
Los
gonna
Absolutely.
Angeles
trust the
Clippers.
process.
yeah.
Like the Clippers.
Like the Clippers. On that note, Brian, Nick, Matt, awesome job, guys. This was fun. We'll be back Thursday. I think we'll be 6 Eastern. So this is The Bank is Open, Picket Sports, Boom Fantasy. Big helps to all your betting habits, bet tracking, and the like. So Picket Sports, Boom Fantasy, thanks to them. We'll see you guys Thursday. Appreciate it.